Hey, everybody.
Hi, welcome back to The Long and Short of It. I'm Jaacob Bowden, professional golfer and explorer.
And I'm Jennifer Giroux. I'm here doing this podcast with you. And this is not a golf podcast.
We are in Detroit again. Last time we were remote.
Yes.
We're back together again.
Yeah, working out of a co-working space. And, just a lot of times we co-work together. I have my meetings and my work, and Jacobs has his stuff he's working on. So when he's not on the course, you tend to come be in the space here at the
Yeah, a lot of times people don't realize that when you see a professional golfer, a professional athlete, you see that them playing their sport, but a lot of times there's administrative things behind the scenes that most people don't ever see or don't know about. And so this is one of our little spots that we go to.
Yeah. I think what's made you successful, we've seen so many golfers that you've befriended over the years and played with over the years, professional golfers. We meet them all the time who had to step out of playing full time, and they had to go work another job to pay the bills and to live their life. And you've been able to build these golf businesses, which have enabled you to also maintain your playing career, which is really great. So a lot of people, when they talk to me about, what does that mean that you're a professional golfer, that you're also a golf entrepreneur. You have these golf businesses. So a lot of part of your work is, doing these back-end administrative and operational things. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's not the conventional thing that people think about, I guess, when they think about professional golfers, like either playing tournaments or you're at a golf club, like teaching lessons. And I've done a little bit of both and kind of like a hybrid of both, and definitely been a working pro. I've had to hustle to make it work.
Yeah, and we're in Detroit where the hustle is real. So what are we doing today?
So last time we answered some questions
from
viewers, which was fun.
Yeah.
So thanks for posting comments. And while we're here, let's leave the call-in number for people to call in.
Yeah.
Call-in number. We're not going to do that this time.
We'll maybe come back to that next time.
Yeah, you circle back. But the call-in number, if we're going through this and you want to call in, ask some questions, it's 313-356-6830. So yeah, let's do our little conversation starter deck. So this is one of the fun things that we've been coming to do with this podcast. There's 80 cards. Well, here there's about 30, but the goal is to get 80 cards from moments in my career, and I just pulled them out of a memoir draft that I'm working on. But we're going to use those as conversation starters. So she doesn't know what's on here, so she'll read it, react to it, maybe recall what she thought about it. Then I'll provide a little bit more context, and then we'll just kind of see where the conversation goes. So,
all right.
Let's pick a card. Running too well.
All right. No. I know which one I want. More this one. It is. So this says, getting bit by our German Shepherd in July 1978 at 2.5 years old. What's interesting is you and I both have been bitten by German Shepherds. I was bitten by a German Shepherd around 3 years old.
Yeah.
And had numerous, surgeries from that experience. And I've talked about how that was a really profound experience for me growing up, and just the impacts of that. And it actually got me into therapy at a young age because it was such a traumatic event. And that really started my own personal growth journey. So why did you decide to write this? What is this experience about?
Well, it was, like you said, it was something that we shared. So I was born January 76, and so in July 1978, my parents had just bought a 32-acre property in rural Missouri, just outside of St. Louis. And, again, this, but just to give context for you. And we were living currently in a trailer, and on the property, just a few feet away, my parents were both teachers, and in the summers, they would work on building the house. And so there were these wood pallets. It was really muddy in the yard from all the construction. So there were these wood pallets that went from the trailer to the house. And so I was playing on one of the trailers, and then somehow, I don't know if I picked tried to pick the German Shepherd up by the ears, which
kids,
not a good idea.
Kids, yeah. Kid being kids.
I don't know what it was. And my parents had the dogs before I was born, so it's possible there may have been a little bit of jealousy, like with the kids getting any attention all of a sudden, and the dogs getting less attention. I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden, the next memory I have is that I'm sitting in the trailer on top of the washer dryer, and all I see is like blood in my face.
Where did it?
All I see is red. I got bit in the nose, and so if you look up close, is it on this side or this side?
I think it's on this side.
So like on this side, there's a little mark on my nose as a scar. And then the thing I remember after that was then being in the hospital.
Yeah.
And then like kind of being a little blurry, fuzzy eyed and seeing the stitches like go in and out of my nose. But it was you
were numb.
It was numb. Yeah. So I couldn't feel the pain. Like I could still feel the tugging.
It'd be pretty brutal. They didn't give you any numbing agent. I'm just like...
So I have a small scar from it, but then when we came together, and I don't know what this, now that I wrote that on there, I don't know what this had to do with like my golf career.
Well, I guess that's what
we came together. Like we shared that experience. Like you had a similar experience, but actually way worse.
I had a pretty full scar. Oh yeah, it was more invasive. I guess I would say I had like a pretty cool scar along that line. I have a scar here. What happened? Well, I guess I was thinking about this too. It's funny. I wonder if there was more dog bites when we were growing up. I don't know if there's like a rate, because I just feel like I remember growing up, I just felt like there was a lot of kids having experiences with dogs. I don't know if as a kind of collective, we've gotten a lot like conscious.
Sure, I feel like I remember
and you still hear about occasional dog bites here and there, but I feel like it's gone down. But I do feel like in the 80s, late 70s and 80s, it was like an epidemic of dog bites. And I think, I don't know if like dog owners, pet owners, I don't know if something's changed, or maybe that's just, we're adults and we're not with kids and, we're just not exposed to that world. Either way, my experience was we had a neighbor's dog and would have the dog chained up outside, like on a leash. And it was a friendly dog. Like, I love German Shepherds. I think they're amazing dogs. One of our dearest friends had a wonderful German Shepherd, Mbisa, who we loved. She was such a sweetie. So I think they're amazing dogs.
The scariest bark in the world, but also the biggest scaredy cat.
That's just scaredy cat. Such a marshmallow. So shout out to Francisca and Jorge for Mbisa. And so we got home from the grocery store and I had this like really cute jacket on. I was old enough. I was like 3.5. So it's probably a year older than what you were when you got bit. I was like early 80s. And I was excited. I was wanting to go play with the dog. And I had these Reese's Pieces and I just took off and my parents went to go inside to put the groceries away. And I just went to go out and play and we were playing. And right around that time, and this is where life is so magical because so many things had to come together. Like I need to be coming back from the store. I need to have this candy. The dog needed to be outside. The owner at that precise moment decided to come over and feed the dog. And just prior to that happening, a couple of my Reese's Pieces had dropped on the ground as I was playing with the dog. And I remember I scooped them up really quickly because I was like, the dog can't eat the Reese's Pieces. This is human food. And at that precise moment, the owner then came and brought the bowl of food for the dog. And suddenly the dog didn't want to hang out with me. He was like, got his food. And so I was like, well, maybe I should give him some Reese's Pieces. And this is like, we talked about serendipity a couple episodes back, or just this like timing of things. Like so many things had to come together. But at that moment, then I put some of the Reese's Pieces on the ground next to the bowl, and the dog was enamored with his food. So like, he's like, whatever, like I'm eating this food. So then I'm like, as a child's brain does, well, maybe I need to put the Reese's Pieces in the bowl. And so then I scoop them up and I lean down. And at that moment, that's when the dog probably was very defensive over its food, just went into instinctual mode and then went to town. And similar to you, I remember being in the hospital and it was like, I remember the blood. I remember being really concerned about the blood on my jacket because I love this jacket so much, and when you're a kid, even as an adult, we have these things that are like so precious to us and we're like, you don't want to get ruined. And so I remember being in the car and so worried about the blood, on the jacket, and then being at the doctor's office. And I remember the taste of the numbing agent in the shot that they gave me for my face. Like it tasted really horrible. I don't know if they improved the taste of that because they had to numb my face to do this massive stitching. So all that's to say, for me, me, that experience, I want to dig into yours, because for me, if it hadn't been for that dog bite, and I'll just be really personal here, my dad was an alcoholic. He was addicted to drugs. His drug of choice was cocaine. And we lived in a pretty volatile home. And my first 7 years of my life were really, really volatile. And that's early 80s. My parents, there was no like sort of thinking about, oh, let's get the child to therapy. But that dog bite was so traumatic that the court mandated that I went to therapy after that. And I gotta say, that being in that therapeutic space while I worked with a therapist to make sure that I didn't come out of this experience and be traumatized with dogs started to give me the conduit to not only talk about what was going on at home, but then the language and the frame to deal with it. And even though, I was by no means a perfect child, I definitely went through my ups and downs. I would say that was the beginning. That was the true beginning of my personal growth journey. Like, I had the language to start to talk about my feelings in a more structured way. And I am so grateful. I look at that experience of the dog bite now, and I can't imagine my life not having that experience. It's given, in some weird way, it's given me so much. Even being, growing up in suburban Michigan, 40, 50 minutes outside north of Detroit, in a pretty homogenous society, dirty blonde-haired kid, sort of blended in, and suddenly I had to deal with scars on my face. And that in a way made me different. So I was able to experience otherism in a sea of sameness. And so there's so many aspects of that really, really, really tough experience that I'm so grateful for. And I don't know if you had that with yours. Is there anything that came from your bite experience?
Well, I think
that has impacted you?
Yes. Mine was much less, it was traumatic, of course, but it was much less severe than yours. Like I had, I don't know how many stitches, but I had some stitches, and then the scar went away for a while when I was a kid, but then interestingly as an adult, it
comes back, yeah.
So I don't know.
Became a body.
Like went away and then came back. But I think there's a couple things I would think of with that. One, the mandating of, we both had different pathways into personal growth and like reasons for getting into it, I guess. And like you having had that really traumatic experience as a kid, and like you had to have a lot of surgeries because of that. No way, I just had stitches.
Or 7.
You had like multiple surgeries.
Yeah.
And then going through the therapy, but then that set you on the path of like doing inner work. And that's been such a huge foundation of our relationship and thing that we bonded over and still bond over is like the personal growth and like the inquiry and the self-improvement. And so in a way for us, like that helped prepare you for us to do that, which also in my golf career, like really helped me having a partner who was, interested in personal growth and like internal inquiry. So I think that was an interesting, unexpected thing that like you think like, oh, this is a really bad thing, but then it turns out to be something good.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of experiences can be that.
But then also like me personally, I found it inspiring.
Yeah.
The way you looked at your scars. Like with me, I have my little tiny scar on my nose, and it's not, you can't really see it unless you're looking up close and know to look for it.
Yeah.
But as we all, like a lot of times we're all our own worst
self-critic. Yeah.
So me, I was a super happy kid up until maybe junior high. And then junior high, I started looking outside of myself for happiness. And then that drove me down to like the worst. I had my low point in college where I probably could have been clinically depressed. And then that was when I started to get into trying to find my way back to being happy and finding myself again. And that was the start of my personal growth journey, which is the whole reason why I got into golf. But part of with me looking outward for validation and popularity, vanity as a thing like, I need to like try and look good, or I need to try and look a certain way. And then, so I always kind of looked at scars like, oh, this is something that is bad and is making me like ugly and it's not popular. So when we came together and you kind of were a champion of your scars and really viewed your scars in such a different way and were so grateful for them, it really helped me in a way deal with my own insecurities with vanity and like the frame in which you look at something that you might perceive as bad, or I was perceiving as like bad, but you're perceiving as like, thank goodness that I have these things.
Oh my gosh, there's so many connected. I think, I had this.
So you really helped me in that. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And it actually makes sense knowing you, because like, I know we've talked about vanity. We've talked about, especially, as, you're gorgeous, and, you're tall, we talk about this, like, you have, the whole package. But then there's these little things that, like the scar on your nose, which I really love and value, and other little things that you have that, have really helped us kind of, talk about those things in different ways and kind of open up. And so I remember I was sitting in a esthetician's, like a dermatologist's office. This was probably about 20 years ago at this point. So, but I just remember her like looking at my face and just being like, there's this like scar I have here on my lip that's more pronounced. And she's like, oh, I could probably put some filler in there and just like flatten it. And I was like, hands off my face. Because and it's interesting because I also have done a lot of work in African countries, and many of our dear friends are from various African cultures, Nigeria, Ghana, etc., Kenya. And, for some of them, they have tribal scars. So as a part of markings of their tribe, they'll have, some sort of scarring. And so for them, it's like a mark of community and identity. And I remember when I first went to Senegal in 1999, and I think my last surgery that I had had on my face, because when you have scarring, you're a young person, especially if it's pretty pronounced, if you don't want the scars to like really get big and spread, you gotta the doctors need to constantly like cut them open, re-sew them to kind of keep the line. See,
your
face is exactly.
moving and changing.
So the last surgery that I had in my face was, I think, when I was 17, where it just was like, and so right around 18, 19, when I went to Senegal, the scars had like thinned out, but they were still a little bit more pronounced even than they are now. And I remember, one of my friends was like, oh, how did you get your scars? And I think he was looking for like, what happened in your community? And the way that we can reframe these things, I think that's like one of as I kind of think about the long and short of it here, as we talk about this and dig in this, I think reframing something is so helpful, from, taking that and being like, this really hard thing was actually possibly a gift, at least for me. And it's also, and for us, yeah. And I just think like, and even
happening to you helped me.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, we both kind of came, from these backgrounds where we had this experience, we have these, and it's allowed us to like open up and talk and just reframe it has been really helpful. So is there anything related to this before we kind of wrap up that you think is more directly related to the golf piece?
Well, yes, because the conversation starter is things that happened in my golf career.
Yeah.
This is not a golf podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why did this make it in the book? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the first draft is just kind of brain.
I know.
So,
but what's the linkage? Is there any linkage that has to be?
So to try and the way professional sports is set up right now, everything is top loaded. Everything goes to the winners, and so
it's so true
on the backs of everyone else.
Yeah,
this is.
Probably dig into this.
This happens across industries. It's like in the entertainment industry.
We all feel it. We all feel it. It's in just general corporations. You see how much CEO pay is just really exploded. In relation to the most junior entry-level employee.
So in order to navigate these systems that are systemically really, really hard to get through, despite being, I just happen to be born into this.
This athletic
body has so many advantages in our current society in the United States of America. And yet, it's been really, really hard for me to break through. And then in order to try and find a way to break through, I've had to do a lot of, so much of it has been internal inquiry and personal growth.
Yeah.
And
getting your mind together.
Had you not, well, in particular, like, I guess, had you not had that dog bite experience, and then maybe had I not had one that we could, like, even though mine wasn't as traumatic in a way as yours, it still gave us something to talk about and bond over and come together. But then also, like, it for me in my professional golf career, it's been so important to have a partner that is willing and able and interested to do internal inquiry and do personal growth. And just so I think like that's the tie-in, I guess, to professional golf. That like both of those dog bite experiences were like really important to me, being able to like kind of conjure up the magic that I've been able to conjure up in golf with limited resources, despite being given a lot to be able to do this. And yet, you know, it's still been super challenging because the systems aren't set up. Everything is so top loaded, but that could be another.
That's a whole other episode. We're gonna get into like the systems, which I'm really excited about.
So what do you think is the long and short of it?
Well, I think part of it is, as you kind of just shared with that, I think one is the reframe. So if you've had a really traumatic experience, or maybe not so traumatic, but just hard, and it's left literally a mark on you, what's the reframe? You know? So what's the reframe? And I think the other thing is, who's a partner that you could have, whether it's your love partner or maybe it's a friend, but you know, who's somebody that you can like actually grow and that maybe can help shift your perspective on something that left a literal mark on you. And so for me, that sort of opportunity of like reframe and having somebody that might have had, again, we had the same experience in different ways, but same. We were both around the same. I was 3.5 German Shepherd, one that you're familiar with, a lovely, a familial pet, you know. So this wasn't, you know, this is a dog acting instinctually and a kid not knowing how to, you know, deal with that animal. So, you know, I think that, that and how we've been able to really have this larger conversation that's reframed that experience and reframed even sort of ideas of beauty, I think has been really, that's sort of the short of it for me. What about for you?
Short of it. Long and short of it, similar to the earlier episodes where we were talking about how difficult things that seem really difficult and challenging in the moment end up later on being good things, and thank goodness. So this is another example of that, I think. But then also, I would say another long and short of it is the importance, I think, of therapy in a way, and self-help, and not necessarily like, you know, we have each other. Not everyone is going to have someone like that, but like
even like the AI systems that are coming online, like those are increasingly used as their tools. So, but you still need to know how to kind of probe and ask, and we can kind of talk about that in another episode. But I do think, that therapeutic investment in the self,
investing in your own personal growth, I think it's worth it. And whether it's a partner like this, or we together and individually have done a lot of paid support. Like we've like me as an athlete, I've like talked to a lot of mental coaches, and we have spiritual coaches together. And then like you just mentioned, there's also the AI, which is you got to be careful with. But like you can sometimes, I think, just talking a little bit out to the AI tools can
help you.
Can at least talking it out loud can help process things, and maybe it can give you some different perspectives
and help you reframe
reframe things that might seem like a bad thing into like, oh, thank goodness that happened.
Yes, for sure. There you go.
So again, call number 313.
That's right. Yay.
356-6830.
Yeah.
We currently only have this on YouTube. It's going to get up on the conventional podcast platform soon.
Yeah, and we're making investments to like improve our content. You know, I think we're, going to try to.
I'm just editing. So we're going to looking at
bring in another team
member to help with the editing and like improve the production.
Yeah.
If you want to support us,
follow the podcast, like the podcast,
comment, call in.
If you want to support Jaacob, get in touch.
Which supports us. Swingmangolf.com is my golf instruction website. I'm transitioning that in the process, transitioning that from its 3rd iteration to its 4th iteration.
The evolution.
And then sponsorships. If you want to sponsor the podcast, sponsor me as a golfer.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Just feel free to reach out.
But just tuning in and seeing your comments and your questions and the feedback, and just holding space with us.
I read comments and like...
Yeah, totally. Everyone's being lovely so far, so y'all get A+.
Yes.
Yeah. on that note, thanks for joining us today. And I guess tune in next week.
Thank you very much. See you next time.
Hi, everybody.